Welcome back, YouTube. We are here with another video, and today we are discussing cheat meals or free meals or off-plan meals, whatever you want to call them. But I'm going to show you how to do them without getting off track and without messing up your progress or slowing it down even. So first of all, I'm going to explain the reason behind why I think this, and I'm going to give you then an example that I did myself last week or 2 weeks ago, and the results then, the successful results then that I got off it. So first of all, what we want to do, what we want to keep in mind is we are always trying to optimize this kind of lifestyle, but finding the right balance with having an outside life as well and giving something back to our loved ones without being as extreme as some top athletes need to be. Even then, I would argue you can still try and find some way to have a balance in your life and to still give to some people, to those people, and to yourself as well. So what we want to think with free meals, and that's why I call them free meals, because if you do them this way, it's not even a cheat meal, it's just a free meal on your plan, on your usual plan. It's whatever you have on your plan, on your diet, and first of all, you need to make your diet enjoyable. Like I have it myself, I don't crave anything, I don't want to be off plan most of the time, and usually my off plan meals are only to be more social with my environment and my loved ones, but nothing for my desires. And on these cases, what we want to do is whatever we have on our plan and whatever we are thinking of getting from off plan and cheating on our diet, we want to match that to our usual plant-based, nutritional plant-based. So let's say we are having a meal out. If we can macro match that meal within what we are aiming to have within that day, then it's all fine, and it's not even a cheat meal. I would call it a free meal in this case. So this is what we want to do most of the time. Again, still some weight will be gained due to sodium and due to water weight, but that's nothing to worry about, and it will go very fast away. Usually what we want to think is we want to get as close as possible to our macronutrient base and our calorie basement of that day. So let's say we are having a meal out and we do some raw calculations, and that meal comes out to 1.3k calories. So on our plan we have, let's say, 2 meals out of 5 or out of 6 that if we match them together, it will come same as that meal that we're going to have outside. So 1.3 to 1.4k calories. What we want to do now is just for that day, we want to get those 2 meals out and just have that meal that we are gonna have on our restaurant or wherever we're gonna go without abusing anything else. So first of all, we need to have some self-control, as most of the time most people cannot do this. They'll sit to a table and they'll forget even the reason why they are sitting there. I'll always suggest that whenever you are sitting to have an off-plan meal, to keep the first and primary goal in mind, that you are sitting there to have a conversation with the people that you are sitting and to have some good time and be present with them, but not be egoistic and have just a meal based on your desires and just keep your mind in that thing from the moment you sit till the moment you get up from that table. So what we don't want to forget is that we're sitting there to have some good time with the people that we are sitting with, and not just be focused too much on the food, or if we are having too much or we are having too little. So usually, me myself, because I'm a little bit obsessed, a little bit too much obsessed with this lifestyle, I always plan ahead what am I gonna have and in details. So for the previous weeks that I had that cheat meal, what I planned on was having half a portion of a shawarma shake and half a portion of a shawarma, of a normal shawarma, standard shawarma, and half a portion of a soup. So this way I could try a little bit of everything and still be on my plan. And with my calculation, everything came out to 1.3k calories. When I matched then 2 of my 6 meals of that rest day with that meal, it came almost the same. So two of the plans that I had, 2 of the meals that I had in my plan were similar to the calories and macronutrients that were to that meal that I was gonna have there. So this makes a very good way to be balanced on an off-plan meal. Other than this, I managed to add an ice cream, which was 250 calories, without getting out of that norm that I was aiming for. So my total calculations of 1.3 calories were including the meal at the restaurant and that ice cream. So based on what I'm saying is, what I was to have on my plan usually for 2 meals, for my meal 3 and 2, I had them on that meal, and I just didn't have these 2 meals for that day. And this is a very nice balance that as well I aim to balance the sodium intake, my sodium intake for the day, by googling it on how much sodium you would have that meal on the restaurant, to then match up the salt intake for my day. And so for the day I have 6 grams of salt and 3 grams of low salt, so that makes it a total of 9 grams. And the total that I googled from that restaurant meal that I will get in terms of salt intake, it would have been close to 4 to 5 grams. So I just, for that day, I just didn't have 4 to 5 grams that I would have normally, and I just had the remaining amount of salt, and I kept the low salt as well to match everything up for the sodium intake and not gain any water weight. And so then what I did is I tried to, of course we will never be satisfied, so whenever we sit at a table like this, we should know first of all that we will never be satisfied with the food that we're eating, because we are so used to eating low volume, low calorie, high volume foods, healthy foods. So whenever we are sitting in a table, restaurant or whenever, fast food or whenever, the food that is coming is very low volume and high calorie because of the fats that's in it and everything else. So we should be mindful of this part as well, that we are not gonna we are not gonna stand up from that table satisfied. With this in mind, we sit on the table focusing on what we need to focus on having a good time and trying to be social as much as we can without abusing. And what I did is I weighed myself that morning, which I'm going to show you here in a picture, and the morning after, and it was not a single gram gained. So this shows us how well the calories were matched and how well the sodium intake was matched for that day. This makes you this gives you the freedom on having those free meals every single week, or sometimes I would argue even twice a week. For me, myself, this wouldn't work because I don't like it. I'd rather stick on my plan, and I just like my diet plan a lot. I don't need to get off it. As soon as you learn to cook well and you have a very nice diet that you can stick on, you don't need to get off plan. But for me as well, it makes me think that it's taking some of my progress somehow anyway, because of my obsession. But I really love this lifestyle that I live in, and I'm so obsessed with it that I don't want to get off plan, like I said before. So for me, this wouldn't work. I just have free meals whenever I have to go into a meeting or whenever I have to go to my family. So that happens once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks, maybe even later, maybe it doesn't happen at all, maybe more often. But however, for most people, this is not maintainable, this is not sustainable. So what you want to think is, you can have those free meals that you want. You can still enjoy some time with your family, with your loved ones, without messing up or even slowing down your progress. You just need to be mindful of matching up your calories for the day, and not necessarily the macros, but as long as you are matching up your calories, then it's all good to have a free meal and still be in your caloric intake without gaining any fat or without making any digestion issues, which I'm gonna get into right now. Whenever you are sitting somewhere, that meal can be full of sodium, can be full of lactose, maybe if it's sweets or whatever. So you just want to avoid having large amounts and things that you know that you cannot tolerate. Like, let's say if you're lactose intolerant, you don't want to have a sweet which is very high in milk, which contains very high milk intake or whatever else, because you don't want to mess the progress for a week then or 2 weeks, because that needs, who knows, to get out of your body. How long it could get out in a day, but it could last up to a week, which happened to me before. And you want to be mindful of the intakes and the amounts that you're having for that meal, because it's very easy to get paralyzed and eat more than you can, more than you want, because you think that you can. Because on my case, on that day, I just had this meal and I was pretty empty. I could eat that around 4 or 5 times over and still be not stuffed. So based on my feelings and based on your feelings, we should never go by emotions, but we should go by what we calculated before we went into there, and just leave it with what we plan to have, and not go by feelings or go by that by thinking in that moment. We should always do some prior thinking and just go in that moment, have what we're planning to have, and just leave it there. Of course, you don't have to plan whatever you are going to have, but whenever you are sitting in a restaurant, just have a normal plate, the starter plate, just have your usual base plate, and then the dessert you can split with whoever you are sitting on the table, to not abuse or to not do anything crazy with it, and still you are having some social time, and still you are being balanced. And in my opinion, being balanced is not going out and abusing everything that gets into you, but this is enough to be balanced, and this is enough to show the people that you love that you still care about them, and you still can make time for them and not be selfish with your goals and with whatever lifestyle you are trying to live in. So these were my tips, guys. I hope they were helpful. I hope somebody takes something from them. Whatever topic you want me to discuss, or whatever training session you would want to see from me, whatever tips, you can let me know in the comments. If you like this video and you would like it, you will comment, share it, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and I'll try to keep these videos up as much as I can and give something back to you guys as much as I can. Until next time, I'm out. See you, and keep smashing it with your goals.